Sometimes talking with friends feels like role-playing. Sometimes it feels like combat. Join us at the Round Table and Roll Initiative. This is Curmudgeons and Dragons.
Hello, adventurers. Welcome to Curmudgeons and Dragons. I'm Jason Portizo, and today I'm once again joined by Miss Josey Diaz.
Hiya.
And Jim Crocker.
Hey, everybody.
So this is going to be a little bit of a different episode for us. Usually we like to tell silly stories and have some fun and laugh at your bad games and, cry along with your good games and stuff like that. But we've got some actual current events in a genre and topic that doesn't usually have a lot of current events. We really wanted to, get this episode out as quickly as we could. Now, the last time Wizards of the Coast had a huge debacle on their hands and made headlines across the country, we kind of purposely didn't do an episode about it. We're talking about the OGL issue. We all kind of had our opinions on it, but it was just something that we didn't really feel like we needed to take a break from our normal, scheduling to talk about.
I don't know enough about bad business to talk shit about bad business.
Well, Jim, I know, absolutely had his opinions on it, and I, as a content creator, had my opinions on it.
They also backtracked on it. They also backtracked on it pretty quickly. So that was like a story that kind of flared up, and they sort of pulled back on it in a way that made it not as relevant.
Yeah, so. And there was a solid month there where it was a huge issue, and then they went,
just kidding, guys. Isn't that so funny?
Well, here's the thing. So then by backtracking on the whole thing, they created a lot of goodwill in the community. And just as we were starting to like Wizards of the Coast again, this happens. So let's just talk about what happened here. So this is the story about the Pinkertons and old school MTG. And if this is the first time you're hearing about this story, we've got a bunch of links in the show notes. You can go ahead and read those. There's a great one on Gizmodo that we're going to be referencing a lot. But here are the facts, the bullet points. Here is the order of events as I understand them. If you guys please correct me, Josey and Jim, if I'm off on anything. But from what I understand, a YouTuber known as Old School MTG.
His name is Dan Cannon. Sorry. I don't know if you had his real name.
I do. Yeah. Okay. So Dan Cannon, who's known as Old School MTG, has a YouTube channel, talking about Magic the Gathering and doing some unboxing and stuff like that. So he ordered a box of the most recent Magic the Gathering set and was accidentally sent a box of the upcoming Magic the Gathering set ahead of release date. I've been out of Magic for too long. I forget the names of the sets. I know the set names are extremely similar, which may have been a factor. So he gets sent the box of incorrect product and does an unboxing video, basically spoiling all the new cards. It's estimated about 75% of the set got spoiled. Which, spoilers in Magic happen all the time. I played for years. In response, Wizards of the Coast hired a private investigation and private security firm known as the Pinkertons to Dan Cannon's house. And, the facts are they were sent there to retrieve the product and stop the leaks. I think that those are the most important bullet points that we needed to discuss. Is that about right, guys?
I think so.
That's my understanding of about how it went down, yeah.
Okay. So
there was a little bit not only did they go to his house, they went and harassed his neighbors as well.
Yeah.
Prior to going and making this man's wife cry. Yeah.
So the Pinkertons have a long history of intimidation and
sorry, I've got opinions about the Pinkertons.
You go right ahead. But intimidation and particularly in union busting, and they are not the good guys. In fact, if you played Red Dead Redemption, you'll know they are literally not the good guys. The organization does go back to the 1850s, and they've never been the good guys.
But According to them, they are. If you were to go to the Pinkerton website, they've got a brief little 2 paragraphs about their history. And they say, we have served as guardians and protectors of organizations around the world, defining new industry standards for comprehensive risk management and consistently revolutionizing our industry. From our roots serving as intelligence agency during the Civil War, Pinkerton has continued to build an impressive track record, establishing the first criminal database, being the first company to hire a female detective, and being a forerunner for the Secret Service.
So the thing is that those things are true, but that's like,
it's very one-dimensional.
Yes, that is taking an extremely selective look at their long history.
In a 175-year history, they found 4 good things they did.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They allegedly foiled an assassination attempt on Abraham Lincoln, but they really screwed the pooch on the next one. Sorry.
Too soon, Josey.
Too soon?
So before we get into the implications of Wizards of the Coast even hiring a company like this, Josey, you did some research on some of the activity the Pinkertons have been known for.
Yes. So, most people nowadays really know them as being union busters. The biggest thing, oh my God, what was it? The Homestead. Hold on, let me pull it back up. The most notable one was when they were working for Carnegie Steel. You can find it referenced as the Homestead Strike or the Homestead Massacre or the Riot, what have you, where they just went to fucking town on protesting steelworkers, and they killed a lot of people. I can't, they are a goon squad for hire, and that is what they have been throughout history. There is a thread of someone.
What was that called again? Homestead?
The Homestead Riot, or the
1892 Homestead Strike, when striking workers took over the Homestead Steel Factory. Andrew Carnegie crony Henry Frick tried to sneak in 300 agents under cover of night to attack the Union and break the strike. But the Union got wind of the fact that they were on their way. So instead of being able to kind of sneak in and easily take the factory back, it turned into a battle which left 12 workers dead and scores more injured. And 26 states subsequently passed laws directly as a result of that incident, prohibiting bringing in outside guards during labor disputes. So in response, the Pinkertons started opening local satellite offices so that they could skirt those laws and be considered in-state forces brought in to, continue to conduct their union busting activities.
And Jeffrey Bezos has recently utilized the Pinkertons and Amazon hiring them to work as spies to union bust, to find people that were attempting to unionize rightfully Amazon warehouses and getting those people fired.
Mm-hmm.
So they did it they're doing it nowadays a little bit more successfully, it seems, without the workers catching wind of it as well.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out, Jim, that not only did several states pass those laws, but it's even a federal law that on a federal level, the government cannot hire specifically the Pinkertons.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's a separate thing that came about. That's the
that came out later.
Also
okay.
The 1936 La Follette Committee on Civil Liberties, which divulged a lot of really damning information about the Pinkertons.
You're right. I thought that was the same incident. That's my fault. Of course, we'll have links to as much of this as we can find with sources in the show notes. If Jim, if you'd be so kind.
Sure.
So now we kind of have like an overall view of who they are. I think Josey, you had this. This is not the first time Wizards of the Coast has used the Pinkertons.
No, it is not.
What other examples do you have?
Alrighty. So this comes from an article from The Gamer. And it is just titled "Wizards of the Coast has reportedly used Pinkertons multiple times," and it's
you know the timeline is getting dark when like the fun nerdy websites are using very like hard hitting news headlines.
Yeah.
Usually it's like
it's just hell world. Okay, I'm so calm.
I was waiting for like the BuzzFeed style. It's like 7 times the Pinkertons have been deployed against YouTubers. Number 6 will shock you.
They don't shock me anymore, but they still continue to disappoint.
Yeah.
So according to the Gamer,
you.
This isn't the first time Wizards contracted Pinkerton to send agents to investigate a leak. Sources speaking to IO9 noted a 2017 investigation into an uncut sheet of foil. Ooh, how do you pronounce IXALAM? Ishlan?
I think even Magic players will debate that.
Okay.
But
Ishlan cards stolen or Ixalan cards stolen directly from the manufacturer. The person who took the sheet of uncut cards attempted to sell them at the local card shop where they worked, with Pinkerton agents showing up to both retrieve the sheet and conduct interviews with staff. I can't imagine those interviews were just verbal. That's my own edit. That's not in the article. Allegedly.
Now, worth pointing out, and we'll get to this in a second here, but like, not that I agree with their methods or with who WOTC called. A massive difference in that story versus this one is that was truly stolen product.
Stolen, yes.
That was not meant for street release. I've seen uncut sheets before. I'm friends with a lot of Magic dealers, and uncut sheets do sell for a lot. Uncut foil sheets are almost impossible to find. They're almost always stolen, unless there's massive, printing issues with them. But we'll get into what makes it different about the old school MTG issue, but that was stolen product.
Yeah. Well, during those interviews, the Pinkerton agents are the ones that said that the Wizards of the Coast has sent them out, quote, multiple times to investigate these sorts of problems. Mm-hmm. And here's a fun little tidbit. The current manager of global investigations at Hasbro is a former Pinkerton agent, and the current director of risk management was previously the director of supply chain security practice at Pinkerton.
That is the first time I heard that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, the call's coming from inside the house. Oh my gosh.
But
like in that case in 2017, it was a genuine theft. And
sure.
when this was initially reported, people were reporting on it as that it was a theft.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, it was discovered it was just a mistake. It was not out of malice or anything. The guy just got something that wasn't meant to be released yet, and he was excited to share it with the world.
Yeah, that's this story. Yeah.
Yes. And then in this same article, they interview him. Not only was he threatened with fines and jail time, but they also allegedly
they're interviewing old school MTG, Dan.
Yes.
Okay, Dan.
Sorry. Yes.
Dan Cannon. Okay.
Dan Cannon. They also allegedly questioned his neighbors, and Dan says, quote, "Harassing my neighbors is unnecessary. This whole thing is unnecessary." And that was in a follow-up video because the original unboxing video was taken down at the request of Wizards of the Coast. But he said, "If Wizard had just called me or emailed me, we could have handled this totally civilly. I would have cooperated. They could have sent me a call tag for the product or replaced it with the product I actually ordered, and everything would have been fine. They did not need to send these Pinkertons to my house, and they definitely didn't need to go to my neighbors' houses and grill them for information." Like, he's right.
Now,
this could have been so... Go ahead, sorry.
So to be fair, WOTC claims that they made attempts to contact him before they sent the Goon Squad to his house. I don't understand what is the charge here? What can he be like if somebody accidentally sent him something that they weren't supposed to send him, it's not illegal for him to have this.
That part of it is, so him being in possession of it, had he not made a video, no one would ever know. And it's just no, then it's a shipping error. Their claim here, and this is something that is actually debatable, and I can actually see both sides of this, is that him doing the leak video constituted as either some sort of copyright infringement or something along those lines, where he's giving out information that was not supposed to be released for another about month or so. And then putting that out publicly to his followers was what made them retaliate like that.
I suppose a copyright
and
claim.
That's exactly what I would call it, is a retaliation.
And that's because that's what it is.
It's grossly violent to send literal goons to someone's house to intimidate them, threaten them, because threatening somebody with fines and jail time is an issue. I'm trying to remain calm.
In the phone calls that Wizards claims they made to him, it would have come through as an unknown number. Can we all agree that there's no chance I'm ever answering that call?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Unknown number, 0% chance.
That's when I get calls here. So like, I will. Nobody needs to see my phone. When I get phone calls from like Scam Likely or whatever, or like numbers I don't recognize, after if I see a number pop up more than once, I will answer the phone and say, "You are being charged for an international call. What do you want?"
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, they immediately hang up.
I hardly answer most calls from people I know.
Yeah, you text them and say, "What do you want?"
What do you want? If it's important, leave a message. And if I don't recognize a number, I wait till it goes to voicemail, because I don't want them to hear me hit the hang up button.
Exactly.
Wait till it goes to voicemail, and then I Google your number to see who you are.
Yeah.
Don't ever call me from an unknown number if you want me to answer. So, point Dan Cannon, even if Wizards is telling the truth on that one.
Yeah. Because you can say that you tried all you want.
Yeah.
Like, well, we made attempts. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
that's what you send registered mail for.
Yeah. Yes.
So the next step of, you didn't answer the phone, so I'm hiring thugs to take this stuff back.
Right.
And realistically, like, if Dan wanted to, he could have been like, "You can't come in my house, you can't have the shit," and close the door in their face, and they would have no legal reason. They can't break down your door. They're not allowed to.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, they would have to involve actual police
and get an actual warrant.
Yes.
Which, like, had this been a serious enough issue,
do not have that power.
Mm-hmm.
They are just there to scare you.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. Again,
it did.
They made this man's wife cry.
That's the real crime here.
It's like, bro, my wife?
Don't be making wives cry.
No, unnecessary. Don't harass my neighbors. Don't make my wife cry. Take your shitty little, just like, I'm sorry that you guys fucked up and now you're making it my problem.
Yeah.
Is what that feels like.
Yep. My question is, who did he receive these cards from? Did they come directly from WOTC, or did they come from a supplier, like a retailer or a distributor, or like an online card site?
My understanding of this, the retailer has not been named from any article that I've seen. And you as a game store owner would be uniquely privy to this information, but Wizards does not give product to players. The only time Wizards is ever giving product out is for promotional reasons. So for Dan Cannon to receive product as an end user, it first has to come from Wizards distribution to a game distributor. And there's a couple, and I'm sure there's have been more since I stopped playing the game. I'm still friends with a lot of game owners. But there was a couple like major distributors that would then go to retailers.
Like a dozen authorized distributors in the United States.
Yeah. And they're pretty big. And some are bigger than others. And then the distributors then go to the retailers. So it goes from Wizards to distributor to retailer, and then to the customer. So I had to go through at least 2 sets of hands before it got into Mr. Cannon's hands. And this is something we were discussing before the episode started. This should have been, at worst, a contractual issue between Wizards and the retailer, or
Whoever
possibly
screwed
the
up.
distributor.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the distributor can get the product into retailers' hands a certain amount of time before release date, so that they are ready for release date. This is not uncommon at all. You'll see this with video games. You'll see this with movies. You'll see this anything that's time sensitive. I worked at Best Buy for a couple of years, and like all the movies that came in sealed boxes saying, do not break the seal before this date.
Yep.
Video games was a huge one for that. A game could not go out even an hour early. And this seems like it should have been a breach of contract between either Wizards and the retailer, or even Wizards and the distributor, if they wanted to push it and go extreme with it and really throw the book at someone. This should have been a contract, a business issue that is not a story.
Yeah.
Contract business issue and a takedown at YouTube or Twitter, whatever it is, wherever that video is up, you just do a takedown on that so it goes down. And, contact him to say, we took these down, hang on to the cards for now, but please don't talk about them. And that's it. It's over.
Yeah. And I just want to read a little bit from the Gizmodo article, where in an exchange with IO9, Cannon confirmed the statements he made on the video and added additional context, stating that as soon as my wife answered the door, they aggressively asked for me by my full name, announced themselves as the Pinkerton Agency, which I am very familiar with their reputation, and said they were there to recover stolen goods. After his wife asked him to wait outside, Cannon says that they forced themselves at least partially through the door and prevented her from closing the door all the way. When Cannon eventually got to the door, he says that he assertively moved everyone outside and told the agents that they needed to treat the Cannons with more respect. They did eventually dial it back and become more civil after that. Wizards of the Coast says it strongly refutes this depiction of events, which contradicts both the report from the investigation as well as the conversation between the individual and Wizards of the Coast representative after the interaction in question. The company also stated that under no circumstances would we instruct any employee or contracted agency to intimidate an individual.
Now, on the one hand,
Hiring the Pinkertons, you're.
I'm going to give this a very generous read. Very generous. Okay, I'm handing out reads here.
Okay.
This now saying that it contradicts the reports and the conversation with Cannon. Saying that it contradicts the report, of course, Pinkerton is going to make their own report look better than it did. I'm not worried about that one. Contradicting the conversation with Cannon, this is making me kind of want to wait for just a little more information before I can agree or disagree with that statement. And then the last part was, of course, they're not going to instruct anyone to intimidate. They can just decide that on their own.
Yeah, and just given the history of the Pinkertons, it is sort of implied that they will be like, you're hiring muscle.
I'm calling the intimidation guys, but we're not going to instruct them to intimidate. It's like, listen, just be very nice to the guy. Wink.
Yeah, I don't.
Just do what you do best. Wink.
Overall, this is incredibly bad optics for Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast in the eyes of the gaming community. Especially, like, I don't know if they would have the same kind of reaction if it wasn't specifically the Pinkerton's detective agency that they hired, if it was a different security company.
Yeah.
Maybe this wouldn't have even been a story. But given their history, it just it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
But I think
there's implied malice there.
Yes.
But I think it would still be a story if it wasn't the Pinkertons. The Pinkertons give it a particular valence, but if it's a civil matter, you solve it civilly. If it's a criminal matter, you solve it, you call the police, and the police come in and take care of that. The Pinkertons is kind of private corporate security stuff that is kind of in this nebulous gray zone between, like, having a conversation with somebody and actually involving law enforcement. They're not law enforcement. But
you can just shut the door in their face.
They show up at your house with guns and they act like law enforcement, and they expect that you will treat them like law enforcement when they have none of the oversight of law enforcement. And that's the genuinely insidious thing here.
Yeah.
Is that, WOTC wanted it treated like a criminal matter, but didn't want to actually treat it like a criminal matter.
Yeah.
Recover stolen property. Fuck you, recover stolen property. That's what the police are for.
Yeah. And it turned out it wasn't stolen. It was an error.
Mm-hmm.
And you've sent thugs to someone's house to intimidate them into giving them something that is rightfully yours.
It was protected by consumer law. Yep. It's very, very, it's like one of the most bedrock basic principles of consumer law for mail order purchases, that if somebody accidentally sends you something, if it gets sent to the wrong address, you own it. I have a short stack of Lululemon yoga hats.
Oh,
because
the most useless thing in yoga. Sorry, go on.
Whatever, little sun hats, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, we didn't order from Lululemon, but it's clearly like, completely different name, but our address.
Yeah.
Somebody put the wrong address in. And so, we got these Lululemon hats. I don't know.
The real question, Jim, is, do you look good in them?
I don't know. I should go get one.
Us?
I should go get one and put it on. Hang on just a second.
Get them YouTube subs.
Yes, King.
I can't believe you're really getting it. I can't believe you went and got it.
Oh, that's a cute. It's a bucket hat. It's very nice. Oh my God. It
Bucket
matches
hat.
your shirt.
Yeah.
Wait, are bucket hats yoga hats?
No.
I don't know.
You don't wear a hat for yoga.
This is from Lululemon, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm ready for a rave now. I look like
That's
I'm
not a yoga hat.
Look like I'm in the Stone Roses or something like that.
Looks like you're going to a New Radicals concert.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's sorry. Stone Roses is my era, but yes. Yeah. It's that kind of thing.
All right. Take that ridiculous thing off.
This
Jim.
will protect my identity from the Pinkertons if they come.
Hey, Jim, how many of those
up.
hats do you have? Can I have one?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Done.
It'll cost. You can have one like when you come back for Jersey. I'll give you one. Yeah.
Boy, howdy.
All right. So, this. Wait for headphones to go back on. Okay.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was a tangent. That's what a tangent looks like.
No, that's what a push for YouTube subs looks like.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
If you want to see Jim and his ridiculous hat, go ahead and follow us on YouTube.
My bucket hat. Yeah.
Curmudgeonsanddragons.com/YouTube. Anyway, so back to the very serious topic at hand here. So, I want to talk a little bit about this coming off the tail of the OGL debacle, which was like not really like a criminal thing going on. There was no like the most insidious thing about the OGL debacle was capitalism, which I'll let you guys talk about that, but
don't let me talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's a different podcast. But that just being a general bad faith issue, and then with the very public outcry, they did end up backtracking on and gave us some semblance of hope for how much we can trust the company. And then they come out, it was the handshake with one hand and the knife behind the back with the other.
I think we need to be really clear about one thing here.
Okay.
Which is, this is the United States of America. We all understand what's going on with guns in this country right now. Somebody could have ended up dead as a result of this.
Trading cards.
1,000%.
Dead. Somebody could have been killed as a result of this. No amount of fulmination over the OGL was ever going to result in anybody getting physically hurt. People could have been killed.
Exactly.
Innocent people living in these houses could have been killed. Neighbors could have been killed. People could have been killed as a result of this. The Pinkertons are armed. They're not cops. They're banging on people's doors without any proof that they are who they say they are. This is the kind of shit where people end up dead.
Yeah. And and that's to speak for the Cannon family. And then we've got a history in this country over the past month or so of people just knocking on the wrong door and getting themselves shot. Yeah. The agents could have been shot by the Cannon family, and rightfully so.
Oh no.
listen.
Sorry.
So let's
don't let them hear me say
that. Depending on where they are and depending on that state's, laws regarding castle doctrine and things like that.
Castle doctrine, stand your ground.
That is a possibility. But this escalates far beyond. But it's also the thing.
It absolutely is a night and day thing between this and the OGL. It's just the most recent debacle on the PR debacle on their hands.
It really destroys their credibility as a company. Like you will, okay, you saw you fucked up, you rolled it back. And we were starting to be like, okay, maybe. And then you've sent a goon squad out.
Right.
I will not stop using the phrase goon squad. You cannot take it from me.
This is also a reminder of a couple of things. And the first is that all of Dungeons and Dragons to Wizards of the Coast is a rounding error compared to Magic. Mm-hmm. And that they will do what is necessary to protect Magic and protect the integrity of Magic, because that's what their shareholders care about, is what's going on with Magic.
That's the real moneymaker.
Yes.
And the only moneymaker.
And I, maybe I'm just, a glass half empty kind of guy, but I can't imagine that this is going to affect Magic sales at all. Appreciably.
No, it won't. It won't.
So, we can yell about it and stuff like that, but shareholders are going to say, good job. And Magic players are going to shrug, or, the worst possible outcome, which is, and to some extent we're doing it right now. This turns into another culture war thing, right? Where
there are some things that I'm willing to die. There are some hills I'm willing to die on.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This might be one of them.
But there's going to be, certainly in my feed, there's a whole lot of people that don't play Magic that are kind of like, oh, those bastards. I can't believe this. And I could swear
Who
to
are
never
the bastards in this situation?
The WOTC and the Pinkertons.
Okay.
And I could swear to never play Magic again. But that doesn't mean a lot coming from me, because when I finally closed my game store, I swore to do that anyways.
Right.
Just because I was dealing with, buying and selling Magic cards for a decade, which is enough to make anybody not want to play Magic again.
Yeah.
But this is serious stuff.
Yeah. And as a former Magic player, as a former Magic player, it is extremely difficult to give that game up. And while kicking an actual real drug addiction is a very serious matter, and I don't want to draw direct parallels to it, but there's some parallels to it.
Hold on, wait, real quick, just the quickest tangent. Addiction doesn't have to do with the substance; it has to do.
And you're
with
absolutely right. It's
you can be addicted to collecting things.
The chemical dependency is dopamine, of course.
Yes.
Which you do get from cracking packs. I can go for a pack right now.
I'd walk a mile for a camel.
I haven't bought a pack of Magic cards in 12 years, and I can honestly it's making me no. That's why I play Marvel. That's why I play Marvel Snap now. So it's a bit cheaper.
You can hear the crinkle of the foil.
Have you smelled new cards? Yes, yeah. Have you ever smelled new cards? Anyway,
that's it. So maybe that can be the defense that he puts up for this, was that it was, that he couldn't help himself, that he had to crack that new pack. There's no way that any reasonable person could expect you to get a box of Magic cards and not open them.
So what I wanted to get into is this: what would it even take at this point to give us our trusts back in the company that makes the game we love to play?
I would love for them to stop hiring the Pinkertons. Just as a quick, real quick, that one. A promise to not do that anymore.
Well, they released a video of the CEO deleting the Pinkertons number out of his phone.
Honestly,
I think,
I'd be cool with that.
I think so. So if we're going to set the joking aside, I think
we're allowed one. We're allowed one.
Okay.
We got it out of the way.
Yeah.
All right.
So what would be, to my mind, I think the only thing that would actually do it would be for Hasbro to sell them to someone in the industry with the money to run the company that was generally trusted by people, by gamers, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some video game tech guy with a pile of cash who was, widely respected or something like this. But I think they would need to be spun off from Hasbro, because all of this is Hasbro stuff.
Yeah.
They are just they're just a little subsidiary.
Conglomerate.
A subsidiary of Hasbro. And it's Hasbro that's hiring the Pinkertons, and it's Hasbro that hired a couple of ex-Pinkertons to run security at WOTC. And they're the megacorp, the cyberpunk megacorp, that we're all pointing our
fingies at.
Now, when you're saying
they're the cyberpunk megacorp that we should be pointing our wrath at, right?
When you're saying
you don't have to tell me twice, Jim. I'm ready. I'm raring to go.
Josey's wrath points just in all directions. It's
Kind
omnidirectional.
of a
no, when you say when you say let them go to another company, are you talking about specifically D&D or Wizards as a whole?
I mean, Wizards as a whole. I mean,
okay.
I guess, you know what? I guess you could spin D&D off as its own thing, as a separate property, but they're so, I guess you could. I mean, if you're talking, so you said WOTC, so I was talking about WOTC.
Sure.
But if all we're worried about is Dungeons and Dragons, which, I guess under the auspices of this show, that is what we're worried about.
Sure.
Having the game spun off and bought by, and the nice thing about that is you need a lot less money to just buy D&D than to buy WOTC as a whole.
Because
Magic
no one's
is the
gonna,
cash cow there.
Hasbro is not going to give up Magic.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
And I think it would be very difficult to separate D&D and Magic, just because
now more than ever, yes.
There's so much
several
content
sets recently of all D&D content in Magic.
Well, and and it's also worth noting that they probably made more money from that movie than they have from all of the game shit that they've done in the last.
Sure.
Oh, it was a good fucking movie,
however many years. Oh, it was a great movie. But that's the thing.
Fantastic.
But that's where the money is. The money is in that license and not in selling us players' handbooks and dice.
Yeah.
Even with that, they said the movie numbers were underwhelming. Despite what it really was a great movie. But we'll talk about that on the show. So a separation from Hasbro, is that really the line we have to draw?
Like that's the only thing that I could see being anything like,
Yeah.
That's the only way to kind of guarantee that this specific thing won't happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say restore trust, I don't know that there ever was trust there, but
sure.
I just don't trust corporations in general ever.
Fair. I think step one, and this is I don't know what the rest of the steps are. I don't know what a resolution to this looks like. But step one needs to be, and this is probably already coming, a full public apology.
That's the bare minimum, and they haven't given us that yet.
And a correlation between Wizards and Mr. Cannon's stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need the actual facts to be agreed upon, and then we can kind of go from there.
There's not going to be video of this, I suspect, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
This is the kind of thing where I wish someone had been there with a cell phone to
maybe
get down what happened.
Maybe somebody had a Ring camera.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, that's possible.
Maybe more. Maybe we will. I hope we get more information about this, because as willing as I am to just say fuck you to the Pinkertons because they're trash human beings, in my opinion, just for litigation's sake and what have you. I'll sell them down the river so fucking fast, but if it turns out that it was a little bit more on Dan Cannon, which personally I don't really believe, I would like to know. I want the facts.
Yeah. And this is very much an ongoing story. This whole thing just came out this week. We are recording this episode Thursday, April 27th. We're releasing this episode Friday, April 28th.
Which is right now for some of you.
Yeah. And that's 2003, depending on how far in the future you're listening to this. And all of this came out this week. The first I heard of this, I believe was it Monday this started going out?
I think so.
Okay. So we're Susan, we're 3 days.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure why the fuck
story.
Pinkertons was trending on Twitter.
My Mastodon feed was just full of posts that were like, the fucking Pinkertons? Are you kidding me?
Bring back the Roaring 20s, baby!
Oh man,
please.
Okay, the memes have been great.
They have.
Let's at least take away some positive out of this.
Yes,
I was very confused because I was recently invited to join a Weezer tribute band, and I've just been so having Pinkerton blow up my feed is not out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
However, we are only learning the Blue album right now, so it was a little weird.
That's a goof.
Serendipity.
And that's all very true. We're called Superman skivvies.
I would like to leave with a contemporaneous, a 19th century quote by a newspaper columnist, specifically in reference to the Pinkertons and some of their activities. And it goes something like this. No man of refined sensibilities would enter the ranks as a hired Hessian of plutocracy, expecting to shoot down his brothers at the command of capital.
That's such a sexy quote. Oh my God. I agree.
People just don't talk like that anymore.
Language is ever evolving, but boy, I'm so glad I understand all those words and agree with them 100%.
So we are going to have a lot of links in the show notes. So please go check all those out. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to have a link in the description that'll bring you to the proper show notes so you can see the whole thing. So please go check that out as well. Again, this is an ongoing story. This is all just kind of coming to light now, and things are changing and evolving. So if anything major comes out about this, we'll do a follow-up episode, or at least.
If you just want to shit on the Pinkertons, slide into my DMs on Twitter, Goblin Scratches, baby. I'd be happy to talk about it for hours.
We're going to get to our normal content again very, very soon. We'll pick that up again next week with the DM Academy episode that Jim and I did. That was going to release tomorrow, but we're going to push that back now. So if you like this kind of content, if you like us chiming in on things like this, slightly more serious episodes, please let us know, and we'll make sure we do more of it. So that's Curmudgeons and Dragons pod@gmail.com. Please give us some feedback. Any information you may have on this story, or any other anecdotes about the Pinkertons, or any corrections about how much I don't know about Magic the Gathering anymore. I'm open to all of it. Anything else to add before we wrap this up, guys?
I would just like to really quick say thank you to Greg, who is the one that suggested that we cover this.
Greg Genovas, we do miss him.
I miss him all the time. I hope Skimmy is doing okay. I hope your hair is long and luxurious, and I hope you're happy that we got to cover it.
And if you're a fix all your shit, Greg, we'd love to have you back on.
Get a new computer. Spend a couple $1,000, get a brand new computer, and then we'll invite you back with open arms.
He's not off the show because we don't want him. He's off the show because he's physically, technically unable to participate in the show.
He needs a new rig. Yeah.
So if you guys want to start a GoFundMe to get Greg a new computer.
Jim, anything else?
No, I think that's it. Like we said, we'll have a lot more detail in the show notes about what's going on.
Definitely check all that out.
And this may be one where, as we learn more, we update the show notes. It's not a thing I usually go back and do, but this one I think I'm going to do my best to stay on top of.
We'll see if we need to. But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back with our sillier content very, very soon, I promise. But Josey, Jim, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you, adventurers.
Thank you for listening to Curmudgeons and Dragons. Please share this with your favorite adventurers. Leave a review on Apple and follow us on social media. All links can be found at curmudgeonsanddragons.com. Practice safe adventuring, my friends.